Hold on one second. Hold on one second. We're opening the meeting of the City of Syracuse Board of Assessment Review. Today is Tuesday, February 7th. We'll do a roll call.
Michael Vavanies.
Carl Masterphone.
Joe Saya.
Chuck Fahey.
Sue Straub.
Okay, everybody's here. We've got a quorum.
name?
And we'll call up our first petitioner. Come on up. Good morning. How are you?
Have a seat. You will be right after this gentleman.
Yeah, have a seat.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to take your coat off? Be comfortable.
Oh, then you can sign up.
Okay, all right, very good. So let me, you're here for 637-39 Westmoreland Avenue.
Yes, I am.
Just one property?
This one property.
Okay, all right. I'm going to swear you in. If you could raise your right hand. State your name for the record.
My name is Adam G. Young.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so I'm just going to read it in, and then give a little information, and then I'll turn it over to you. Okay. All right, so we've got 637-39 Westmoreland Avenue. This is a two-family, correct?
Yes.
And the current tentative assessment is 80,000, I believe. Okay, and that's with a land value of 9,200. And the petitioner believes that the market value is 80,000. So that'd be an assessed value of 51,600. 51,600. And then just to confirm, add the is it 75% or 65%? 64.5 this year. Okay. I misspoke on the 75%. Okay, and let's see if we've got any purchase information. Looks like this gentleman purchased the property in 2000 for $10,000. The year 2000 for $10,000.
Actually, we've got 2000, it doesn't matter, but we've got March of 2001 is when he closed on the property.
Okay.
It was a foreclosure purchase.
All right, so 2001 foreclosure. Looks like he completely remodeled the property. Okay, all right. It says here you have pictures?
Yes. I have
Okay.
pictures before the damages occurred and after the damages occurred.
Okay, so you purchased it through a foreclosure. What was that? HUD?
The city foreclosed.
Oh, city foreclosure.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Oh, wait. I'm confused because I bought two properties from the city.
No,
But
this
this one I bought it for myself, from a different.
LaSalle National Bank is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the bank foreclosure. Okay, go ahead. Give us a little synopsis of your argument.
Okay, I have to be quick because I only have a few minutes. I had a tenant that rented my apartment, downstairs apartment, the 639. I live upstairs, 637.
Okay, so you live in the property.
Yeah, I live in the property upstairs.
Okay.
And she rented my apartment for $600 a month. She lived in my apartment for 7 years. No problem. And then last year, she didn't pay for the whole year. I took it to the court, and the court decided to evict her. No, I didn't evict her. It was the judge who decided that. So she came to me one afternoon, and she said she wanted to.
All right, let me just ask you a question. I'm sorry to interrupt. Now, you said you didn't evict her, but you took her to court.
Yes, right.
What did you take her to court for?
Well, several ways. Either she's gonna pay me back. I took the city marshal. He arranged that. I just signed the
I mean, once you went that route, you knew that she was going to get evicted.
Oh, no, if she agreed with the requirements of the court might decide to let her stay.
Okay,
It was my decision.
all right.
But she paid, but she never showed up in court. She showed up once, and after that she never showed up in court.
Okay.
And so she never really said anything to the court. So the court decided to evict her. And one evening, I think it was this Thursday, not the afternoon, she came there saying, I sent you money for what the court wanted for, and it's in the city. And I said, can I come back? I said, no. I said, you can't come back. It's the decision made by the judge to let you go. And even if you pay, it was part of your payment. And whether you pay or not, you have to answer to the court. But you can't come back here. I had no authorization to have you come back. You just got evicted. That evening, she set my house on fire. She changed the lock. I couldn't even get in. And it was smoking all over the place. And I said, what is going on here? I could hardly breathe. And I was worried about my cat. And the cat didn't die. I was so lucky. Because she hid. They hide.
All right, let me slow you down for a
Yes.
second, just calm you down.
Yeah.
All right, we get all that.
Okay.
All right, so what's the condition of the property today? We don't really care about her anymore.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, the condition of the property is
Yeah, what-
damaged,
what-
completely damaged
right now,
right now.
are you living in it?
I'm living I'm living upstairs, but
Okay.
the downstairs is completely damaged.
Okay,
Yeah.
are you aware of this?
Yes, he's been in a couple of times. We've discussed things, and so I am familiar with it, yes.
Okay.
I'm not the assessor for the area, he's
Right, Joe.
out, but I'm sitting in for him.
Okay, do you have anything that you want to interject here?
Well,
I mean, we'll let him go on, but
it's a two-family. I think he should present his pictures to you so you can get a better picture. I haven't seen any of the pictures myself, but you present them to the board. And
Now, which one? I have two pictures, before the fire or after the fire. Which one do you want to see first? Before the fire?
no, let me see after the fire. What I'm trying to get at is I want to see what it looks like now.
Oh, yeah, you just bring the pictures down.
that's why you're here, is because what happened.
Yeah, but this should be, have a comparison.
No, I
And when did
understand.
this happen?
Last year, about around April
April of last year,
of last year,
there was the fire.
there was a fire, yes.
All right, and are these pictures what it is today?
Yes.
Okay, what have you done since last year? Why is nothing happening?
Well, I can't do anything. Plus I have no money, and then it's winter, and
Well, what about insurance?
well, I didn't get the insurance involved because it wasn't covered at the time it was set on fire. Because I wanted to make preparation, and
Did you have insurance on the property?
I had insurance a long time ago, and I was going to make that's how, when I make all these changes, modification, there was no insurance because I didn't want insurance to get involved in my work. And then when I get it done, I had it rented.
And there was no insurance when the fire
There
happened?
was no insurance, no.
Okay. Okay, and so we've got, yeah, a bunch of miscellaneous pictures. I mean, that was your choice not to have insurance.
Oh, yeah. But it's not the problem, it's not the insurance, it's the issue, because I can repair the houses. I can build a house by myself. That's not a problem to me.
Okay,
It's just that I don't want anybody damaging my property.
sure, I understand that. So when do you plan on getting the renovations underway?
First of all, it costs a lot of money to even get back to the way it was before, if you see back the pictures.
Absolutely.
It
it
costs a
does.
lot of money and time. And now I can't hire anyone because nobody else knows as much as I do. And I'm too busy with organs. I'm a chief electrical engineer. So I'm too busy. Before I had time to do this because I wanted to have a house. I was learning at the time before I bought this.
2-minute warning.
All right, so we can't give him an unfinished because he's living there.
Actually, Joe has done that for that unit. He gave it an unfinished because it's not occupied.
When did he give it an unfinished?
Starting this year.
Oh, okay.
Starting this year. We need to have better communication between the fire department and the assessment department. A lot of times there'll be a fire and it may make the news, but and if we see it, we'll flag it and address it. This one, for whatever reason, it was not caught. And Mr. Young came in and told us his story. You know, he's passionate about his property. He's very proud of all the things he did. I assume that when he bought the property at foreclosure, he spent a lot of time fixing it up and making it look beautiful. I think that's why he wants to show you previous pictures. But we don't have time for that. So here's the deal. Joe went up, he looked at typically a house in this neighborhood, it's a two-family. Typically, you know, it would be selling somewhere north of 150 to 200,000 if it were in decent condition. But because of the fact that there was a fire in it, it was reduced, and this is the first Mr. Young would be aware of that, because we don't discuss what we may or may not do before we get here. I mean, we might have said we might give you an unfinished. That would be the bigger guy you spoke to that would have made that decision. He did reduce it, the assessment down to $70,000 unfinished, which would give you a year to go in there and fix it up. That's typically what we give people to try to help them to get back on their feet, to be able to rent the property back out and get it up and running. It doesn't sound like you're gonna, in this scenario, you're gonna have it done within a year. Do you think that's gonna be the case or no?
No, that will not be the case, not at all.
How long do you think you need to have to make it a functional two-family again?
Well, first of all, I have to get everything ready the way I had them before. I'm not ready now. I have to get everything organized. That will take a long time, because I have I'm not a carpenter now. Before I was.
We
Now
are
I'm
at
good
time.
at computer work and everything else.
All right, I got a couple more minutes. Okay, but let me explain something to you, and I appreciate your position, okay? But the city is not gonna continue to subsidize you until you're ready, right?
I
You-
wasn't thinking that,
Okay,
sir.
all right, well, so, and again, I appreciate where you're coming from, but it's, the fire happened when last year?
About October, about April.
All right, so we're talking about a year, and nothing's been done, because you've got to get your, your situation in order. But now you're telling us you're still not ready, and it's like we gotta wait indefinitely. That's not gonna happen.
That's not what I was thinking, Your Honor. Sir.
Okay, all right.
What I was thinking is just someone has to come up with some money that I spent on this thing, and it wouldn't be back to the way it was before.
That's understandable. However, and don't take this the wrong way, but you should have had insurance on the property.
Well, that's not true. Someone put my house on fire, and here's the assessment.
I understand, but that's why you have insurance.
Assessment.
I understand that, but that's why you have insurance.
Well, that's not the point, Your Honor. I can say, Your Honor.
Well, here's the point. The point is the city's trying to work with you, so they're saying to you that they're gonna give you an unfinished assessment for a year.
What is unfinished? I don't even know what that means.
Okay, well, what it means is that it's being assessed for less than it should be assessed, to give you some time to renovate the property.
That's not, no one told me about that. I don't have the time to renovate the way I was renovating at the time.
Well, again, the city is giving you some time, but if things don't progress in a year, then the assessment
They
is,
never give me a time. No one ever told me about it at the time.
well, we're telling you now.
But
That,
now it's, you should have told me that before I said this, hire anybody to enter my property as a tenant. Because then I would be ready. Because right now what she did, she damaged me.
sir, if you're gonna be a landlord, these are some of the things
I
that
wasn't thinking
happen.
of being a landlord. I was just being nice. Because this woman has no job, the city is supporting her, and she has no place to go. And so I said, I give you this for a few, I didn't say this 7 years, I said for a few, as long as you need it. And The property was for $1,500, was it 1,500? 15, or is the coming right is 15, about 15, I don't know, 1,000 or something? I don't know. But I gave
Let me-
her a price of $600 a month that she can afford.
Yep.
I wasn't trying to get money off of that.
Understood, understood. Let me ask you one question. Your profession is what?
Electrical chief engineer.
Are you still working, are you retired?
No, I'm retired.
You're retired, okay. All right.
What's the hope, I guess, I'm wondering? What are you hoping would happen?
Well, he wants to put it back in the same condition it was.
But I will need some money to do. I can just do it with no
Right, but I
money.
mean, what
Well,
did
okay,
you, as far
where
as
do
the
you plan on
assessment?
getting the money?
How do you get no money for me?
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Where do you plan on getting the money?
I don't know.
All right.
If I'm gonna get the money, I will still work. If I don't know, I'm gonna get it with no money, especially the inflation that we have now.
All right. Well, it looks like the city's going to give an unfinished assessment for 1 year. So you've got a little time to get things in order, but it's not
The
like,
city's putting me in a situation I'm not. I wasn't. It's supposed to be in the situation. I was trying to be helpful to somebody.
the city, I'm trying to be reasonable with you, but we are over.
We do have.
It's not, it's like you're blaming the city
Well, I'm not
for,
blaming the city.
well, you're expecting
But
the
the city's
city,
blaming
you're
me.
expecting
You're
the
blaming
city
the
to
situation.
bail you out of a situation that you got
I'm
yourself
not
in.
asking the city to do anything for me.
Well,
Just to
then,
listen and do whatever the law requires.
why are you here then?
Whatever the law requires, not to put me in a situation where I have to be there as a carpenter again. I'm not a carpenter like I used 10 years ago.
Again, the city is trying to help you by putting the property into an unfinished assessment for 1 year.
I didn't have any confirmation about that. I didn't have any.
That's the
community-
most that we can do.
Yeah.
That is the absolute most and the
Well,
best
that-
we
that
can
you
do.
can- What about the law? What if I take this to law, to court?
You certainly can do that. So here's
Yes,
what
you're
we're
right.
gonna do. We're gonna take everything into consideration. The city's gonna send you a notice the first week of April. If you don't agree with
First week
that,
of April.
yes, if you don't agree with that notice, then you can take it to small claims.
You haven't even looked at me the way it was before. Do you want to see it?
I don't have to look at it the
See?
way it was
See?
before. I have to look at it the way it is now.
The way it is now is the way it was before, and it costs a lot of money and time to do the way it was before.
Understood. Do we need to keep these pictures?
That's up to you. I mean, I think you've seen what you need to see. I mean, we've tried to be reasonable and,
Right.
you know, we need to move on to the next.
Yeah,
But if
get it.
if he goes to court, should we have these pictures?
Well, I'm just gonna be myself probably representing the city when if we takes it to court, and I'm gonna stand my grounds and say we've tried to work with them.
Yeah.
period.
All right, so does the city need these pictures?
I would hold them, yes. I would hold them as
All right, we're gonna,
I don't. It's a lot of money to give the. You're gonna take that it's out of my hand.
we
If I
will,
go to court, I need that.
okay, so we're gonna make copies of
Okay.
these and then we'll send you the binder back.
When are you gonna make copies now?
No, we'll make them probably
By the end
next
of the
week,
week.
or the end of this week, and then you'll get this binder back like this, okay? We're just gonna make copies of these.
Okay, I'm not saying you're gonna play some things, because I don't know, I have no records, I have
No,
pictures of that, but
we're just gonna make copies of it, all right?
how about this one? Don't you wanna see, the judge wouldn't wanna see this?
No, I don't, again, we're judging what your property's worth today.
What about
And that,
before?
well, that would be worse for you. So it'd be better just to let us take those
It was the
pictures.
worst for me.
Well, yeah, because the property was in better condition before, which
like
means
that.
which means it would be worth more. We're trying to help you.
Well, I'm not trying to avoid paying what I'm supposed to be paying, but I understand what you're trying to do. Keep it down so that the assessment is down.
To give you time
To
to
give me
fix it.
time, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time. I'm not just 10 years ago or even 20
Well-
years ago.
That's, you know,
That's not, I don't remain the same way. My desire is the same 20 years ago.
understood. But the city is not gonna sit and lie in wait
Well,
until
they don't
you.
have to listen, wait for anything, for anyone. But they can tell me what to do 20 years ago.
All right, I've got to call it, but thank you for coming in. The city will send you a notice first week of April.
Thank you. But I offered this, but you don't want to see it because the judge will see that, definitely. I am a lawyer.
Okay.
I'm not licensed, but I've been to a lot of law firms. I know what I'm doing. I'm not trying to impress you or anything, but if this is what you want to do, I got things that I was trying to help someone, now I'm damaged. And what you're doing is trying to put me in a situation where I have to be a carpenter again?
We're not putting you
have
in
another
any
person who
situation.
needs
Yeah, but
to-
we do have these people here.
Okay, thank you very much for listening. Anyway, I just had to speak.
That's fine, no
I
problem.
don't even know your name, but it doesn't matter. You're the court. To me, you're the court.
No, that's fine. We're an independent board, and I wish you luck in the renovations.
That's if I go to the ground where you're building it.
Correct.
I'm 20 years old. No. It's a different story.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
thank you, thank you.
Hey. Hi.
By the way, do I get notification when I can pick up my pictures?
Oh, if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're
If you
ready,
wanna
she'll
come up
call
and give
you.
me your phone number, I'll call you when they're ready to be picked up.
And if you feel more comfortable, leave that with her, and she'll make copies of those too.
Yeah, I'll talk to Sudan. You have even documentation of what the judge book is.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's the phone number?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't. How are you?
Yeah, my name's Ping Damiani. This is my husband, Jonathan. Yep.
You're here for 949 Maryland?
Yes.
Okay, all set?
Oh,
Yes. I'll take
All
that.
right.
just
Just think for a second.
you're gonna call me? And
I will call you and leave you a message when it's ready to be picked up. Probably end of this week.
Sometimes my friend is too.
All right, so we've
Yep,
got-
I will leave a message if you don't answer. Okay?
If I ever go back, is there a number I can contact you?
I would leave that in the message.
my ducks in
Yep.
order.
Yes, it will be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Okay, 949 Maryland Ave.
Do you have a hearing?
You're both gonna speak, I assume?
Do you have a hearing?
You can both raise your right hands. It doesn't matter. If I don't swear you in, though, you can't speak. Okay, state your name for the record.
Jonathan Damiani?
Ping Damiani.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let me just read this in 949 Maryland Avenue. This is a single-family residence. Is that assessment 167 tentative?
The tentative assessment is 170,000.
170. What's the land value on that?
Land value is 11,100.
Okay. And petitioner believes the fair market value is 210,000. We got all different numbers here. What's the assessed value on 210, anybody?
Well, that's not, is that right?
The claimed full market value that I have on this one is 208,372 with a claimed
Right.
assessed value of 134,400.
Thank you.
Claimed market value, 208,372?
Yep, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay. Assessed 134,400.
34. Oh, yeah. 400.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else on here.
This is gonna be,
Property was purchased February 3rd of 2022 for $306,000. Is that correct? So So now the big question is, you paid 306 and a year later it's worth 208. Okay? I'm ready to hear.
Okay.
Why don't you explain the
Yeah, I'm just gonna
purchase
try my best to explain because of my language differences, and my husband gonna help me if any differences.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we purchased our house last year because the crazy market is like the inflation was so expensive, and we were living in a duplex with 2 children. We're kind of forced in a way we have to move out, even we want our kids to stay in the same school, so we have to looking for somewhere close by. And we jumped in really fast. And we were doing research, our market already dropped 15,000 just in a year, the house market value. And we did our research for our neighbors' houses. On the left side,
Let me ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
All right. Was this on the MLS? Or is it on
yes,
the open
yes,
market?
it was, yeah,
And did you use a realtor to purchase the
we
property?
did, we did,
Did you pay cash?
we did,
You paid cash?
we did,
No mortgage?
no mortgage,
Okay. So no appraisal?
no appraisal.
Okay. Go ahead.
And we realized, first of all, when we bought the house, the least square footage was 2,000. Then we did a recheck, it's 1,700. It's not 2,000. And our neighbor's house was bigger than ours, and we did an assessment value. They are 70,000 less than ours, left to right and front, which they all have a bigger houses, and our front house have double lots and stuff like that. So we were wondering if we can have some lower assessment value, just almost same like our neighbors. I know we bought a house last year and the market value was higher, but it felt like,
Just felt like we got gouged a little bit just because of the timing of things.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be back in here on Thursday representing my wife and I.
hold on,
for-
yeah, just let's do this one at a time. Yeah.
You're gonna be what?
Back here on Thursday representing the 2 of us for the previous house that we purchased, which was just a few houses down the road from this one, to discuss the assessment value for that property as well.
But it's different
Different case.
assessor and a different case,
Okay.
so we're not gonna confuse it, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, but you live in Maryland?
Yeah, we're
Yep.
living in Maryland right now.
Okay.
Yeah, because we lived on the same street, like I said, we want our kids go to the same school, so that's why we were jumping into a crazy market, like just several houses down, so they can have same play friends and
We
same
moved back to the
teachers
States
and-
right in the kind of heart of COVID, and we couldn't find any place to rent or stay or live.
Yeah.
I'd taken the job at Lemoyne College, and the opportunity to buy a property on Westminster was appealing to us because it was the first thing that kind of came across our radar. We moved in. My wife joined us from abroad.
From Japan.
We were living on the
And-
second floor above a couple, and we were like, we got to get out of here. We're going to make these people
Yeah.
insane. And so an opportunity to buy a house down the road presented itself, and we bought this one. My wife started researching this a couple of months ago, and she just noticed the properties surrounding us on all sides have far lower assessment values, and thus their taxes are
And actually,
cheaper, right?
our house square footage is 500 square foot
bit
less than
smaller.
is presented, like listed on the website. I did talk to agent about it. Agent is just like, it's done, whatever is done is done. Well, yeah, I guess it's
Did
true.
you do a home inspection?
when
I
we
did
purchased
not.
the Maryland house. We didn't.
No, we did not do
We did
home
on the
inspection
level.
either. It was so crazy.
So the Westminster house, you're coming in another day.
Thursday.
You still own that?
Yep.
That's where you lived,
Right.
Yep.
but it was a multi-unit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. We live upstairs.
I'm a little slow, but now I.
It's
think I-
no, it's kind of clunky. All right, I mean, our children were making friends on the street. We were developing a community. We found a good spot to be in Smith, and we didn't want to leave our nest, so we just moved 5 houses down.
That's all. That's our
Yeah,
thing.
quick
Yeah.
purchase and.
Yeah.
All right, so, the, just last question before I go to the assessor, condition of the property, any issues?
I mean, we are good. I mean, yeah, we are happy with this house. We have no complaints. Our friends are still here. Our neighbor's house is almost the same as well. Yeah, we'll visit our neighbor's house as well. So we have no complaints about this house.
Yeah, just, you thought it was a
Yeah.
quick purchase.
Right.
Okay, so Ed,
Yeah.
any thoughts?
So, as I explained to, your wife, you established, by paying what you pay, you establish market value.
So if you wanna just.
And you've got an uphill battle. The assessor did not raise it to what he paid for it. It's still way below what he paid for it. when we
Was this
paid
an
for it.
increase, so they
It was
purchased it, this
increased,
was an
it was
increase
increased
based on the
53,000, but
purchase?
the house was completely a gut rehab, according to the information that the assessor has here in the file. It was
That's
a gut
the-
rehab
yeah.
with solid surface counters, inlaid floors. It's
Prior to your purchase?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a, investor rehab type thing?
type of, yeah, and he flipped
No.
it to them, and then, you know, they paid what they paid.
May I explain?
Sure.
They bought this house, the former owner bought this house 10 years ago. When they bought it, it was in the condition they bought it at that time, and they renovated 10 years ago. And they didn't do any renovation in the past 10 years. So when we sold it, they,
Somebody misled, because I've got
Yeah,
something
they
in
did.
writing that states that it was done.
yes, exactly, but it did not happen. Actually, they
What
renovated
is that,
10
the
years
listing
ago
you
when
got?
they,
It's a write-up. Joe Poe, this is something in Joe's area. I'm representing him.
2-minute
You know,
warning.
It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, colonial, and this is, I'm reading this off of the overview of the property. Completely renovated, top to bottom, beautiful.
Yeah.
Hardwood floors throughout, ceramic tiles in the bathroom.
It's a
new
nice
windows,
house.
new
I have to say, it's a nice
mechanicals,
house.
new radiant floors,
And
tear,
and so we're not disputing it was 10 years ago, but,
yeah.
you know, obviously the assessor wasn't in the house.
It wasn't a.
But I'm sure it's very nice, but it's 10 years old, so I get it. Is there anything you want to submit?
I think you guys all have this information, just the, first of all,
The only
showing.
thing I have in the file is just the petition.
I just want to show the neighbors' assessment. I mean, you guys already have that. We almost have the same renovation, same style, same bedroom, and they are bigger. They're actually, the houses are bigger than ours, and the assessment lower than ours. I understand we just purchased last year, and if,
Do you have a good relationship with your neighbors?
yeah, we do.
You're not gonna now, because when the assessor gets his hands on that, their assessment's going up.
You know, I mean, to make blanket statements like that, in any type of neighborhood like you're living in, it's just not true. There are many rental properties that are absolutely, they're rental properties, and they're
Our
not
city
taking
is a
care of the way
house-
your property is. There's a huge difference between a rental property
guess so, yeah.
and an owner occupied property that has been within the last 10 years completely
Right.
got rehab. You know, I mean, there are many of those houses in that neighborhood, and I've been in the industry for over 40 years. Not all of it in Syracuse, some of it in Boston, but for the last 30 I've been here, and I grew up in the city. You can't convince me that every house in your neighborhood's been renovated, and you can't convince me that they're all in better or similar condition.
I can show you the pictures.
I've been up and down the street, I'm very familiar with the area.
Let me, let's do this, though, in the interest
Sure.
of time.
Sure.
Please submit what you'd like,
Okay.
and we will go through everything, certainly.
Okay.
Again, the assessor did not come close to what they paid for it. We did raise it a lot. It was a big increase. It was an increase of $53,000. But it was because of the fact that he discovered things about it. I mean, number one, nobody's gonna argue with him. They paid a big dollar for that property. Probably the highest price in that block. You know, no question about that, but they paid it. You know, they're the ones, you have to do your due diligence. We have a college professor here that knows what due diligence is. I'm certain you're both well-educated people. It's not meant to be an insult. It's meant to, we did our best to reflect what is happening in the area.
Yeah, just to re-note, the increase went to 170, which equates to 263, right? So that's well below what you purchased, the property for. So I think that he didn't want to nail you with
No, I understand that, yeah.
a large, real large
Right, right,
increase.
right. We don't have complaint about that. We understand we purchased a really high price, and I understand that. But just when we walk in, we start realize the square footage is different, the renovation is different, and I just wonder if we could,
Yeah.
get on the market.
No, that's fine. We will take what you submitted,
Okay.
what the city has said, and then the city will send you a notice first week of April.
Sure.
But, it didn't fall on deaf ears, but, again, you got to understand our position with respect to the purchase price.
And your neighborhood is likely to get looked at, not because of what you said, because we review neighborhoods all the time. You may not be as popular with your neighbors as you were yesterday, but I'm not gonna go tell them what you said.
We may, but, just kidding. It'll all work out in the end. And we'll look forward to seeing you on another day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
We have Pamela.
I don't know, there's gonna be so many of you.
Good morning. Howard.
Good morning.
Okay, so you're here for 1127 Wadsworth Street.
Right.
That's where you
What's the name?
here.
So if you want
If you could raise your right hand,
right here,
Oops, sorry.
30.
state your name for the record.
Pamela Dalton.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do. Would.
So we've got 1127
Okay.
Wadsworth
If
Street.
you want to have a seat, you'll be
This is a one-family residence. Current tentative assessment of, I just want to confirm, or Tom, 71,000, is it?
Yeah, 71,000, land is 10,000.
71,000, land 10,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is 65,000, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Which would be,
41.9.
okay, yeah, because I got nothing on here. 41.9?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me just see if there's,
I didn't bring any,
comparables.
well, just the neighbors around me who have the same assessment as me and whose homes haven't been renovated. We have,
All right, let me
That's it.
just, if I could, you bought the property in 1995 for 50,000?
around 95, it could have been 94, 95, yeah. And I bought it as is,
Okay.
and it's still as is.
Okay, so it's somewhat in the condition that you purchased it.
Right, I still have knob and tube wiring, I have no insulation, which I froze my butt off this weekend.
Okay. All right, so yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about the property?
So, see, I've owned it for a long time. There has now been no major renovations. It's almost 100 years old. My neighborhood has quite a few rentals. It's on the north side. It's not distressed yet, but it's coming that way. So I don't think it's. I know the people next door, and we bought a house, but it was renovated. They were from out of town. Last week, they just had somebody come in and put it. They just bought this house for $117,000. They had to have somebody come in and put in a new furnace with insulation. So I know people are buying these houses for this amount of money, but they're not worth it. And then they have to do all this work once they move in, especially in that little area.
Did you bring anything you want to submit?
Just the other like a couple houses by me that are still at 62, and these homes I know haven't been renovated.
So they're comparable to yours?
Yes,
And the assessments are in the same ballpark?
yes, 62, 56, 64.
Okay. So your house is comfortable and livable, but it doesn't necessarily have all of the updates, is what you're trying
Right,
to say.
it's got no curb appeal.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody buys it, they're gonna have to put a lot of money into it.
Okay. You want to submit what you have?
Sure.
For the record, 1111 Wadsworth, 1121 Wadsworth, and then yours, 1137 Wadsworth. Okay, and this is just, so an unequal assessment is basically what you're.
Sure.
Okay, anything else you want to add before I turn it over to
Nope. I'm good.
the assessor? Okay, Tom?
You know, this is my area, but I didn't review this one since I know the petitioner. We've got comparable sales, but
Did you say you know the petitioner?
I work
she's
for
a
the
city
city.
employee.
You look familiar.
Yeah, I tell you, yeah.
So when we know someone, we don't get involved in reassessing someone that we know's property.
Absolutely.
To remove a conflict. It was raised. I had reviewed the area a couple years before I looked at every house on the entire length of Wadsworth, and I didn't raise it 2 years ago. And the sales that I'll give you the sales that we've got, and they're on other streets, and except there's a couple on Wadsworth, but they're high sales, 123, 142. If the board is inclined to grant some relief, that's up to the board. I think the increase is in line, but to that extent, I don't know. That's all I'll say. There's all the information.
So you raised it 2 years ago.
No, I
You
didn't.
looked at it.
I reviewed every house on Wadsworth, the entire length of Wadsworth, and I thought it was fairly assessed, and I didn't raise it.
You did not raise it.
No, and I didn't realize whose
And-
property it was at the time anyway, but, when it's somebody that we know, we step back and we let somebody else review it.
Okay, so I'm assuming Joe doesn't know her.
No,
He might know her by face, but I don't.
yeah, not by name.
Work for the water department.
I did, now I worked in finance and licensing, then I worked in water, and now I'm back in licensing.
Okay.
All over the place. So,
Okay, and, so you're here basically because there was an increase.
that's it, yeah.
Do we know what it was prior?
Prior, just take 6,000 off current assessment of 71. It was at 65,000. An assessed value of 65,000 prior to that,
Okay.
and that would still be $100,000 value.
Right. 110, yeah, okay. And there's comps in here, Tom?
Yeah, there's some on the little handout that you have available for all of the board members. And then I put some printouts of
Oh, I
comparable
didn't
sales.
realize you had that sheet in there. We each got
Did we
one.
did we get that sheet?
Yeah.
I didn't take one. And neither did Chuck.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No.
No? All right, so we'll take what you have submitted, stated, and what Tom has stated as well. The assessor for the area is out. Did he have his child?
Not to my knowledge, not yet.
Oh, his wife, Edith.
His wife, right.
Thank you for the
Stand corrected. although he is a big man, so, you know.
And played college football.
Wife.
Okay, so we'll take everything into consideration, and the city will send you a notice first week of April.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for coming in. Okay. Thank you, Zach. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
104 Greenwood Place?
Yes.
104 Greenwood Place. I think it's, file is 104, I got 104-106,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's a two-family, so.
Two-family, okay. All right. If I could swear you in, you raise your right hand, state your name for the record.
Chris Newman?
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we've got 104 Greenwood Place, two-family house, current tentative assessment, 154.9. Is it 154.9 or 154?
154 on my paper.
Okay, 154. With a land value at 9,500. Petitioner believes the fair market value is 180,000. And that would be a equatable assessment of 116.1. Okay. You said this was a is a two-family. You purchased it for 109.5 or 169.5?
169.5.
169.5 on June 13th of 2018. Okay. That 154 equates to 238,760. 238,760. All right. So the city believes the property is worth around 240. You're at 180. Go ahead.
So obviously I purchased it for 169.5, and there were $6,000 in seller concessions. I don't know if that makes a difference. I think values have gone up since then. I did a little bit of work on the exterior, paved the driveway, new basement windows, but I didn't do, I think, enough work to justify that level of increase. And then I looked at some comparable sales, and so there was one that I found that sold for $239. That was on South Beach, 503 South Beach, but that was built in 1992, so I felt like that was more updated and in better condition than mine. So I had two others that sold for 180. 200 Harvard Place was 180. That was also two families, 6 beds, 2 baths. And then 174 Fellows sold for 190, and that was 6 beds and 2 full baths, 2 half baths. So I felt like mine was more similar to those.
This is non-owner occupied.
Correct.
You live on Hickok.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rents?
I get $550 per bedroom. So if it's fully rented, $1,650 per apartment.
Okay, is this a college student type thing?
College, usually grad students, yeah.
College grad students by the bedroom. All right, so about 3,300 each total. Separate utilities?
Separate utilities, but I pay the utilities.
You pay the utilities, okay, because they're by the, by the bedroom. Okay, and was this always a rental by the bedroom prior to you purchasing?
Yeah, he did the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was increased quite a bit. $53,900 increase. You know, I mean, we got sales. One on Clarendon sold for $310. We got one on Greenwood Place. They sold for $202 back in '21. Another sale on Clarendon, $275. 204 Fellows sold for $190. $190 is low end. And then you got one on Concord Place, sold for $265. You know, I mean, I think it's reasonable what, you know, the assessment appears to be in place. I certainly didn't go down in value like he's suggested by his request at his assessment. I mean, you know, I mean, he's asking for, I think when you calculated it was a lower number than what he paid for the property. Is that correct?
On the
His request, what's his request, what's his?
assessed value?
Yeah.
116.1.
16.
Fair market value of 180, paid 170.
Yeah, I mean, the market's been, and especially in this particular area, which is known as the Westcott Nation.
So you're saying it was assessed for 101?
So an increase was absolutely warranted.
Yeah.
Whether it was a $53,900, you know, that's a.
Well, it's a big hit.
It's a big hit, and I understand that.
50% hit. I understand, you know, like, holy cow. However, you know, you've had probably some pretty good savings prior to. It was probably underassessed.
We also asked for, and we sent this out to you, and it went to your PO box. We asked for the last several years' income and expense statements, which you did not provide us with. That is something with any income producing property, we're going to make that, we want that part of our file. Some of us are real estate appraisers, and we look at all approaches to value, not just the sales comparison approach, we're looking at the income approach also.
That's true. However, he's under oath, and those are pretty good rents, so.
Yeah, decent rents. I'm just saying, you know, I mean, again, for your file, it's not in there, that's all. And you guys are gonna make your decisions, you're an independent board, you've been doing this long enough, whatever your decision is.
Are you able to submit that information?
Yeah, I would, yeah, I could do that.
Okay, because that would be helpful. When do you think you could get that down here? If you've owned it since, so I'm thinking maybe 2019 through 2022. Bought it in 2018, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a full year and.
So, yeah, I could just send, I'm not sure what format you'd want it, but I could send like copies of my Schedule E for that, for those years.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2018, you had a half a year. If you can do 2018 through 20, well, I don't know if you have 2022 ready, but.
I do not have that done, but.
Okay, well, 2018, 19,
something to look at.
2021 would be good. You know, good faith, we've got it in the file, and, but, you know, you're not being unreasonable. It was a large increase, but again, you know, probably had the benefit of, you know, a little bit lower assessment than what it should have been. You know, based on purchase. Anything else you want to add?
No, you know, I mean, the things are worth more off there than they were yesterday. I mean, things have, you know, it's kind of growth that the city of Syracuse has been undervalued, and investors are coming in, paying what they're paying.
Yeah, no, I
Part
think.
of part of the good experience of living in Westcott Nation.
Yeah, you made a good purchase, but you're trying to, you know, obviously minimize that hit, so I get it. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay.
I could submit that by the end of the day. Where do I drop that off somewhere?
Yeah,
Or?
right down to room 130.
Okay.
Assessment office would be great, and where are we? By the end of the week if you can.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Do it later today, great, but, by Friday it'd be great.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And then the city will send you a notice first week of April.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Geez, we don't have to get on these guys this year about raising assessments. Holy cow. I know this was Joe, though.
Whatever, I mean, fair is fair, market is market. I mean, sometimes, the area has not been looked at in several years. Unfortunately, when you make adjustments to try to reflect what's going on up there, there's steep adjustments, no question about it.
Yeah. No, and the rents are, and I was just joking on the assessment thing. But again, he was coming from the fact that, it was a 50% increase. But then that's why I tried to say that, yes,
If you're asking me what I think the city should do, I would say the city needs to hire 2 more assessors in order for us to adequately cover the area, but there's budget restrictions that, they're out of our control.
Sure.
This is the one that had the death in the family. So he's just requesting that you just go off of the application.
Okay.
And then this is the one from yesterday that had left.
Yes.
So I spoke to him. He is actually getting surgery in a couple of days, and he wasn't feeling that well, so he went outside for some air. He ended up getting sick. So he said that can just go by what the information is in there.
Okay.
So while we don't have anybody here, I figured I would give you both of those right now.
Okay. Are these people here now?
No.
I guess they're scheduled later.
Very good.
I have to work on perfecting my cloaking technology before they hit my neighborhood. Like, jeez.
We know where everybody is.
Those guys are brutal.
We know where everybody is.
Doesn't matter if you work here either.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I'm aware.
They pretend they don't even know where you live.
We try not to look at people's names. I mean,
No, we don't,
like,
really.
we do our best to avoid looking at names. I know a lot of people in the city of Syracuse, and
And I don't know anybody.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Waiting for the day.
They got me
No,
this
it's
year.
a tough,
Must
you
not
got-
look at my name.
got a
Or
lot
maybe
of
they
road
did.
Everyone in the lot.
three assessors or whatever you have. All right, let's,
Yeah.
Like looking at my address.
these
I
Right
was like,
over here, I'm not sure if there's any in the front.
yeah, okay.
good
As soon as
neighborhood.
Mike gets back, we'll take care of these two.
Okay.
One for today, one, for, yesterday. And
We're gonna do a
then,
drive-by. There's just gonna be a vacant lot.
Yeah.
Where my house is.
Is your house the one with the signs and the flashing lights?
You got me. It's actually, hold on. It is actually
actually,
the
it
address.
wasn't that way when you left this morning, but it'll be that.
It will be now. My house address is,
Courtesy of code enforcement.
great, delightful. Gonna have a word with whoever's in code.
Request from Tom Johnson, by the way.
Yes, my property address is actually 300 Bear Street. I'm just kidding.
That neighborhood, I was actually in charge of it for 3 or 4 years. And I had revalued Harvard and over on the other side of Westcott Street. I'd gone up and down the streets over in there and made changes in this area that we're dealing with today was something that they took me out of the area and put me in another place, so, I mean,
I think that's good from a rotation standpoint.
yeah, no, it is, I think it gives everybody a chance to learn about the different areas.
Well, yes, and also get, like
A fresh look at things.
congressmen, they're in for 100 years, they get comfortable and so on and so forth. But, so to rotate, I think is
Yeah, I
important.
mean, it's, there are many of these properties that you're looking at, the assessment hasn't been changed since at least 2007. So while it's a big increase, you look at it over a 20-year period of time, and it's really not that big of an increase.
That's always been my argument.
You know, I mean,
Be thankful.
nobody wants to get a 50, plus increase, but if it's an income-producing property, you know, and.
Well, yes, but also, again, you have to remind them of the macro that, look, you know,
Right.
you've had probably a discount for the.
You've been getting a deal for forever, and now you're getting, it is what it is.
Well, on Monday, I spoke at a public hearing, and it was about the initiative to charge 4 and more families take away the rubbish removal from them. And one of the things I said was that rents will always go up. I don't know any landlord that doesn't raise their rent. You might get the little old lady who has a 2-family house that known the people for 20 years and you keep their rents low, but they're below market. But, you know, Greenwood is close proximity. You cut through Thornton Park, and you're right, literally, for a young kid their ages. I mean, Ed and I could probably run that in about a minute and a half through to the main campus, but the closer you are to the proximity to the campus, the greater your rents will be. And when kids get shut out on renting ones that they prefer, they'll go to the alternative places and, you know.
Yeah. Well,
The nation appeals more to graduate students than it does the undergraduates. The undergraduates want to be where the action is.
Is this over at the Westcott neighborhood, over by Westcott and Genesee, over by the Westcott Harbor?
Yes.
I used to live over there my second year of law school. I rented an apartment actually on the corner of Westcott and Genesee. I was a little bit miffed when Beer Belly Deli closed, 6 months ago. I had not yet moved back.
When what closed?
Beer Belly Deli.
Westcott Nation.
I had not yet moved back. I was maybe 3 months from moving back in, and I found out Beer Belly Deli.
Why did it close?
So the owner, her law practice was picking up, and the owner of the building wanted to raise rents. And she was I had a good 10 years, and she was I'm not going to lock in for another 10 years. It was like a 10-year-old restaurant, that's kind of a niche, local places. 10 years is not bad. That's a pretty decent run for a restaurant.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And so I was a little bit miffed. Their eggplant burger was amazing. And then they closed, and now I'm great, now I have to find another eggplant burger.
Good luck.
But they changed the pizza place, and I hear nothing but raves about the restaurant that's right next door to it.
Oh, I know the place. Oh, it's escaping me.
It's newer. It used to be a Papa John's pizza, now it's,
Oh, it must be
it's not a franchise type of thing.
Yeah. We used to, when we didn't want to pay delivery fees for Domino's or Pizza Hut,
Right.
we'd get Papa John's and walk down the street, walk.
Oh, are you talking about,
Rise and Shine.
Rise and
maybe?
Shine, yes,
Oh, right, it's so good.
yes.
Yeah, I know the owner of Rise and Shine.
You do? You've eaten there then, huh?
Well, not in its new location, but when they were on Thompson Road.
We're not there anymore? They closed that one down?
That one's called Loaded now, isn't it?
Right, so I think they sold that or what have you, then they moved up to the hill. Just don't see any.
Loaded is also good.
I preferred the one on
They own them both.
Thompson. I thought it was better, but everybody likes
They
the
opened
one
two
on
new
West
places,
End.
too.
in some cases since 2007, or maybe even before that. So again, it was increased, but this one was a $6,800 increase. You know, Eastwood is one of the hottest markets. I don't think I have to tell any of you sitting here that if you're not in the university area, it's certainly close to the second most active markets in the city of Syracuse. You know, and the assessment appears to be in line with where it should be.
Okay. Sounds good, we got that there. City's submitting some information, and we will take that into consideration. You said that it was a $6,500 increase in assessment year over year. Okay, thank you for that. So this one, yes, you don't have, this was the person here that was here yesterday, and as Michelle said, wasn't feeling well. And so, I did not read it in yesterday, so let me read it in. There's a fair amount of information in this file. So I think there's probably, the petitioner asked that we,
You actually did read it in there.
I may have, did you show that?
Yeah, I have notes on it.
Okay, so let's do this. As
But I don't know.
per
No,
Carl-
so they're actually, oh, you have it written here?
Here.
But,
That was this
okay,
one.
yep, all right. Because we also had
Okay.
411 Pearl come in, which was right next door.
Right, and that one there was the beginning, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But you're confident that I did read it?
Well, I have all the details. I
If you
mean,
have the details,
So, yeah.
then I did.
yeah.
Okay, so it was read in yesterday. Yes, because I've got some notes as well. So, based on that, we will put it back with yesterday's files. And there are tax returns in here, so that's good. Yeah, I think there's enough information that the petitioner submitted that we would be able to deliberate and make a decision without actually speaking with the petitioner. So I'm gonna file this separately, and so that's all we have up to this point. We're waiting for other people to arrive, is that it?
Yeah, we have our next one is 10:20. We do have two people that were scheduled, one for 9:20 and one for 9:50, who have not shown up. So I've set them to the side for right now.
Yep. Perfect.
But yes, our next scheduled one is at 10:20.
Okay, sounds great, thank you.
Are they here?
No.
And that one
All right, so not to get this mixed in with today, this is for. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Sorry, it's not.
Yeah. He's very apologetic about when he asked what his options were, and I, told him that he could come back and,
I think we did the right
or
thing.
Rainstorm. They ended up winning.
Sorry, so you're here for 341.
Great, yeah, no,
Yes.
that was I remember that. That was an awesome year for them. He probably had a blast.
Right, he did. He now lives
And
in
your last name is pronounced Vito, right?
Yeah, Beach.
Jones is because he can't get, lacrosse like he can back here.
All right, let's get this one started here. I'm gonna swear you in, then I'll read the property in.
Okay.
This is 341 Hillsdale Ave, everyone. Sixth on the list for today so far. Okay, if you could raise your right hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Kingdom B. Veto.
Okay, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just read it in with a little information, and then I'll turn it over to you. 341 Hillsdale Avenue, is this a single family?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Current tentative assessment, 88,000, I believe.
Yes.
That sound about right? Okay. The petitioner believes the fair market value is $80,000, which would be an equatable assessed value of $51,600. Okay. Yeah, let's see if there's any other information in here. When did you purchase the property?
I purchased it in 2020.
2020?
No, 2021, sorry. In August.
Okay, August of 2021.
Yeah.
And do you recall what you paid for the property?
Everything's around $143,000.
$143,000? Okay. And if I could, do you live there?
Yes.
Okay, it's your residence. Did you, was this on the open market? Was it a real estate for sale sign out front? And
Yes.
okay, all right, so it went, you went through a real estate. Did you get a bank mortgage on it?
Yeah, I went through Movement Mortgage.
You went where?
Through Movement Mortgage.
Movement mortgage, right, okay. Okay, fair enough. What else can you tell me about the property? Well, I guess so you paid $143,000.
Yeah.
Right? And now you think it's worth $80,000.
After I purchased the property, by then I was kind of a little bit in a rush or to move out, but later I look at it, and by then also the market price was kind of a little bit high, so that kind of puts in that situation. But later I found that it should be a little bit more lesser than what it is, and also looking at what some changes that need to be done in the house, the location and all that. So I feel like I think this house should be a little bit lesser than what I bought it. But it's like already made the choice already signed the deal, everything, so I have to live with it.
Yeah, and the bank did an appraisal on the property to make sure it was worth what you were buying it for, because you got a mortgage. So, what do you think needs to be done to the property?
At this very moment, I think maybe, I don't know if this is my first time in the market business. This is my first time buying the house. This is my first time appearing duty. So I think there should be a kind of a little bit something due to the taxes, or maybe the change of the taxes now from because the appraiser and now the taxes different. I think maybe if something can be done, and also I feel like I would take that also kind of like accountability for it, because the time I bought the house I was in the rush, so I didn't get more of time to access more, and the appraiser also didn't kind of give me a good job when I entered into it. So I feel like
You had a star exemption?
Star exemption?
Star exemption.
Yes, I did. I went through that. After I bought the property, I went through that procedure. So it's kind of like after that change of job and kind of put a little bit hard shape, and my mom also moving from Africa, you know, having family and all that stuff. So
This was picked up, you know, because of the sale price. And that's what we have to base the value on. Did the sale price include, did the buyer or seller pay closing costs or any concessions that they gave you? Did they pay anything?
okay, I was dealing with my rental. So it's like everything after my rental got to do with, all I know that I went through FHS loan and I put the down payment and the rest was being done by my agent.
Okay, so you don't recall if there was, you don't have, doesn't look like you have the purchase offer or any type of documentation with you.
Well, for now I don't have it, but I didn't thought maybe to bring it now. If not, I should have looked for it and bring it. But if it's something later to look for it and bring it, I can do that.
Okay.
I just wonder if they had folded the closing costs into the purchase price, which we could back off.
Right.
It was an FHA.
I wouldn't tell on the purchase
Yeah,
offer.
I mean, FHA, I'm not gonna comment one way as far as finance. FHA is very, or it has been in the past, more stringent on the finishes and things like that in the home, safety issues and things like that.
Still the case.
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Okay, so was this an increase in assessment?
Yeah, it was increased by 23.5.
Okay.
And it hadn't been reassessed in a number of years, so it's part of the, I don't want to call it the Eastwood project, but as someone else on the board may have called it. But, yeah.
Right, and, yeah, okay. Because the 88,000 is 136,434, which again is the ballpark of purchase price, and so with that, were you coming out of a rental
Yes.
into a purchase?
Yes, I came out from rental into
To the purchase. Well, that was, congratulations on that, that's good. You know, that you're building up your own equity instead of somebody else's.
Yeah, I was just, it was the time I feel like it's about time to my house, it's about time to move, out of divorce, family death and all that. So it's like everything just packed up. So it's like, I'm ready to move. I don't care. So it's like, so sometimes I feel like I also own a park because I was in a rush just to have a place. So that's why.
Well, you're definitely in a better place, for sure. Okay. We're kind of in a tough situation, because you established market value by paying the 143.
Yeah.
And so, it's, and the bank appraised it, so the bank wouldn't have given the mortgage money if they didn't think it was worth it. We'll take your situation into consideration, and as well as what the city said, and anything that you're able to submit, like your purchase offer, or anything that might show some closing costs that were rolled into the mortgage, that might help a little bit.
Yeah, I think I can look into that and probably just submit.
Yeah, you can bring it down to room 130. If you can bring that by Friday, that would be good. Okay.
Did we get the land value, Joe?
13,700. I may not have read it off. 14,700. Okay, so we'll take everything into consideration, and then the city will send you a notice first week of April.
Okay.
But anything that you can submit paper-wise would be helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you too.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good luck. Good luck with your house.
Thank you.
He's a city employee, police department.
Good.
Police department.
Yeah, that's excellent. How are you?
He has 2 properties.
two, all right. Okay, do you want to discuss them in any particular order?
Yes, I'd like to start with the Bassett Street property.
Okay, and then Cherry Street. All right, that sounds good. Give me 1 second here
Okay.
to find them. 205 Bassett. And then 425. All right, so if I could swear you in, if you could raise your right hand, state your name for the record.
Kiva Vandergeest.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got 205 Bassett Street.
Yes.
Is this a one-family property?
No, it's a two-family.
Two-family? Yes. Okay. And I have a current tentative assessment of $80,000 with a land value of $7,800. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $113,000,
Yes.
which would bring the assessed value to $72,885. Let me just take a look a little further. Okay, in 2021, you paid $102,000.
Correct.
And let's see, so refrigerators, okay. The property appraised for 113?
Yeah, and I have the full appraisal here too. I gave you a couple pages from it, but here's the whole thing if you'd like it.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Excellent. And do you live in this property?
No, it's a rental.
Okay. And what are the rents?
The rents, and I'd like to make a point of this, the part of my neighborhood that I live in has been a lot of families over the years. And so, you know, Cherry Hill was right there, and that was kind of rough in the neighborhood. It's becoming a nicer neighborhood, but there's still a lot of people who live there who are regular people, not students. And so I keep my rents affordable so that the people who have been in that community for many years can stay there. So the rents are, for the smaller apartment is $420, which is the price that the woman who's been living there for 20 years on a fixed income has been paying. For the majority of that time, she knows it's a little unreasonable to expect that, but her income hasn't increased in those 20 years either because it's a fixed income. The upstairs apartment is a $620 apartment.
Separate utilities?
Yes.
Okay. So they pay their own, you pay the water?
Yes.
420 is a one-bedroom.
420, it's a two-bedroom, but it's like kind of a weird configuration. And then the 620 is also a two-bedroom, but they're like, the second bedroom's kind of more like an office. It's kind of small, like a kid's sort of room.
Okay. That's nice on the rents. Is this an increase in assessment?
It was an increase of $22,400.
Okay. When was the last time it was
In
increased?
years. It's, again, it was part of an area that I was heading towards when I had the area. And it was the assessments were very low over there. So, you know, there was definitely a need to review the assessments in the neighborhood, to get them up to closer to where they should be. You know, and that's what the opinion of the assessor that handles the area felt that it was worth all of what he assessed. We have sales, there, you know, she's not, it's a smaller two-family. This isn't a, 2,400 square foot two-family. It's 1,506 square feet. Her first comp is the property where she purchased it. We have a house down the street, similar size, so sold in a few months after hers for 110. Then we go up to Judson and Greenwood and Westcott, and the houses are bigger in size, substantially bigger.
Can I also add that I've talked to a lot of my neighbors, and all of our assessments increased by the exact same amount. So our values are different, but the amount is all, I think it was like $33,000 or something like that. So it's a little interesting to me that every single property of a person that I've talked to has the exact same increase.
Okay. You said there was, this increased 23,000?
22.4.
22. I was off my memory, so sorry.
You know, it's you know, it's what you choose to rent property for is a business decision.
Sure, but I have an appraisal that's saying that.
I understand that. Is it a single family or is it a multi-family appraisal? And then was the appraisal done for finance purposes? What was the reason for the appraisal?
Well, for finance purposes.
It was done by the bank for the purchase,
Okay.
yeah.
For the purchase of the property.
Right.
Again, that was back in 2021. The market remains very active over there.
It's in the ballpark is what I'm saying. You're at
We're not-
113, the city's saying the property's worth 124.
Yeah, I mean, this is a call for the board, you can look at the comps that we have, you know, again, the rents are low, I mean, that's a business decision, but we try to reflect what similar, you know, just because that's what she's getting for rent doesn't necessarily make that market rent, and I think she's acknowledged that.
Good. Yeah, so, and again, you're close, but, you know, we're gonna look at it, of course. Is there anything about the property we should know with respect to, deferred maintenance?
There's a lot of deferred maintenance. The person who owned it before me put little effort into the house. So, you know, the floors are sagging and have issues. The roof needs to be repaired. The windows are still the original ones to the house. And they're all falling through. There's, you know, it's livable. It's definitely what you would expect in a kind of a Westcott unmaintained rental. But I got a quote for new windows. It's about $10,000 for the house. The roof, and the attic is not insulated. The house isn't insulated.
Is there plans to do these upgrades?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think too, not to skip ahead, but there's proof in that when we talk about the other house, because I've done a lot of stuff there as well.
Okay, good. And so when, just as a side note, when she does do these things, would they fall under an exemption?
We typically, you know, I mean, only would fall under an exemption if you were to file with the city, you know, building and codes department that she's doing those kind of things, but roofs and windows and things like that, we don't typically go up and read somebody's assessment because they're making their own more energy.
Right, no, I'm just saying that for her edification and knowledge going forward, if she does do some of those major improvements.
It may have an effect. It may, and it may qualify for a 485J. It's dependent on whether the assessor is aware of those types of things.
Okay. So if she does do that, she ought to touch base with you guys.
This woman lives in the neighborhood. Nobody's finding fault with what she's doing or has done. No, it's not, you know, let's go get these people or hit them hard, because, you know, all our job is to try to reflect what the market is bearing.
Yeah.
And that's to the best of this assessor's ability. He felt as if, you know, he this one, or we're not talking about Cherry Street yet, but he increased it to reflect what the market would bear for the property.
Yeah, and I would think that's in the ballpark, but we'll look closer at it, of course. Anything else you want to add on this property?
I don't think so.
Good? Okay. So let's move on then to 425 Cherry Street. and I'll just read this in. Yeah, the numbers seem similar. So 425 Cherry Street, this is a two-family also?
Yes,
Okay. Do you live here?
yes.
Okay, you live in Cherry Street, okay. Current tentative assessment of $80,000 with a land value of $11,800. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $114,000, which equates to
73.5.
$73,530. Yep. Okay. And here is owner occupied. The owner paid $70,000 in 2011. In 2016, you refinanced. Do we have an appraisal for this too, or no?
I don't, it's 5 years old, so I didn't think it'd be as
All right.
important.
But appraised value 114.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't think that, we don't dispute that. Is there, oh, that's your,
Yeah,
notice?
yeah, I don't have anything for this one.
Okay, but this is something that might have been, you might have done some more things to.
Yeah, I've put a lot of work into this one, and the properties, the backyard on Cherry Street butts up to Bassett Street. So if
Your property on Bassett?
not mine, one further down, but they're very close to each other.
Good.
So I was thinking that they could potentially be reviewed with the same mindset, that if the other one has that kind of assessment and the city is increasing the value by the same amount on both properties, that the assessment that I had for Bassett Street would also be reflective of Cherry Street.
Okay.
Because it's current, that's main reason. So instead of paying for a current one, it'd be considered for both of them.
Yep, okay. What have you done to Bassett? I'm sorry, Cherry.
To Cherry Street, when I bought it, I got quite a few grants from different agencies around. So there's a new roof, new kitchen, new refrigerator, new hot water heaters for both apartments, new furnaces for both apartments, the insulation throughout the house.
Outstanding. So on those grants, what do you have to live there for a certain number
For
of years?
10 years.
For 10 years,
Yeah.
and then they're forgiven.
Mhm.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and there's, a handful of other things. There's brand new floors, bathroom remodeled, exterior vents in the kitchen and the bathroom, and, yeah, I could go on.
That's good.
All through the same program?
There's 2 different programs I think I used. I used the Empire Housing Grant, and I used Peace Inc. had a energy efficiency grant. And then there was some smaller ones through Home Headquarters and UNPA and a few things, but they didn't have a specific thing that they did. They just gave you money.
That's awesome. You first go to home headquarters and
I went to UNPA first, and Joanne Stewart just told me everything that has ever existed in the entire city. I don't know if you guys know her. Just talk her. Yeah, it was really helpful. She's like, yeah, it definitely was a huge, it changed my life. Absolutely, yeah. Having this place that I could rent, and yeah.
Are we able to raise the assessment on it?
Hey.
You can go on and on, please, you've got the floor.
What's the rent?
We didn't get a rent on it, on the property.
Yes, what are the rents, the rent on the other units?
So again, I'm keeping it open to people who've been in the neighborhood for a
Yeah,
long time. So it's $750 for it's like a 2 to 3 bedroom, because one of the bedrooms has a exterior door for it. So
Okay, and everything's separate again?
yeah. Mhm.
Good.
You're living in the other unit?
Yes.
Yeah, good for you.
So-
Go ahead.
And this looks like a house that was a single family home at one point in time, possibly was converted into a two-family, as many of the houses in that type of a neighborhood have been. You know, I guess she was listening to somebody that said, don't fix up the outside of your house. At least the picture I have from here looks like
Excuse you.
a little bit, you know, but look, I'm glad that you've fixed, you're enjoying the interior of the house. But, you know, and again, it's a very small two-family, 1,650 square feet. You know, the sales of similar types of properties. She got her house that she bought over on Bassett's account, another one on Bassett's account, where, you know, the 102, 110 range. You're stretching the. So again, I'm gonna let you make the call on that.
Okay.
I only looked at one picture.
A lot of those grants won't cover exterior stuff, but it's also asbestos siding.
Well, asbestos siding, you
And
can
so
go
you,
over the top
yeah,
of it, but they,
yeah.
you know, they don't
They're not,
wanna
nobody's,
remove
they're nobody, yeah, nobody's gonna come and take it down for
No,
you.
they're not gonna take it down, but they will go over
Yeah.
the top of it. And I would, if you're gonna live there and you want to, I would suggest that you consider it.
Okay. Okay. These comps here, if you like. Anything else you want to add?
Just that I hope you consider the Bassett Street and the area in this one, because I don't have a lot of supporting documents.
Yeah, no, we'll take, we'll look at that appraisal pretty closely on Bassett. And, any pictures of Bassett Street?
There's a lot in the appraisal, yeah.
All right. Anybody else got any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll take everything into consideration, deliberate, and then the city will send you a couple notices, first week of April.
Okay,
Thanks for coming in.
thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, everyone.
My stepdaughter's was Ray. She just lives a couple doors down from her. From her on Bassett.
Oh, okay.
Bassett.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, she's done what she could as far as grants and what have you,
She
that's
teaches
great.
up at ESF.
That
Oh.
particular lady?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I think landscape architecture.
Yes.
Okay.
Richard and Susanna, 600 Ellen Street.
Park?
Yes. No, not Park Street.
Park Avenue.
It's my neighbor.
Park Avenue.
Okay, 600.
You all fancy.
600 Avenue?
Right next to
Yeah, this is
Boardwalk.
600 Allen, right?
It's a Monopoly joke. Oh, sorry, it's Park Place.
600 Allen. I'm just gonna grab a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
Yep. Thank you. Well, help if I drink any of that coffee. I don't drink coffee. Hot chocolate.
Okay. If you wanna come on up.
Thank you.
Sir, the next one. You got one?
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Well, that's it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you? Good. Good. Okay. So you're both probably gonna speak, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll swear you both in, and then I'll read in the information, and then and then I'll turn it back over to you. You both raise your right hands. State your name for the record.
Richard Park.
Susanna Park.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. We do.
Okay, great. All right, so this is 600 Allen Street. This is a single-family residence?
Yes.
And current tentative assessed value, $160,000 with a land value of $18,400. Petitioner believes the fair market value is $230,000, which would be an assessed value of $148,350. And let's see if I can pull off some other information. So you bought the property April 30th of 2018 for $200,000. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, and then we've got some comparables. 560 Allen, 113 Concord Place, 131 Harvard.
Are they comparing assessments or are they sale prices, just out of curiosity?
Well, it's got both of those on here. However, you said this 600 is a single family, right?
That's correct.
Right. So the 131 Harvard is a 4-unit?
I'm not sure. I was going by bedrooms, but, or yes, that's Harvard, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Is that the one across the street?
Because we want to compare apples to apples as far
Yes,
as
and that's
type of
part,
property.
yeah, and that's part of what we want to talk about.
Okay, very good. So we'll get into that. And this was a $6,000 increase.
Yes.
Assessed value. All right, so let me turn it back over to you.
Okay, so we prepared a statement.
Please.
Okay, so in 2018, when we bought our house, its assessed value was $128,500, full market value of $160,625. In 2021, our house was reassessed to be valued at $154,000, $205,333 full market value. It was quite a jump, but we did not grieve this initial change because we thought it was fair. Now, just 2 years later, our house has been reassessed at $160,000 or $248,062 full market value. So we're here because we feel the current proposed assessed value is not fair, and this is why. So we paid $200,000 for our house, and for those who just look at square footage, one would presume that was a great deal for the size and the neighborhood. But as our real estate agent said at the time, it was a fair price considering. Our house has had many owners in its 100 years. Just in recent history, looking back to the 1970s, it was actually a hippie commune. Followed by the commune, the previous owners bought it and owned it for over 40 years. They did very little upkeep or updating the house, we presume because they owned 2 other houses out of state, so they didn't actually spend a ton of time there. So much of what we encountered when we moved in, the bright orange living room ceiling, the primary colored painted radiators, the fake pine walls in the dining room, the peeling 70s original wallpaper in the bathrooms, you get the idea, was all still there. So they just didn't do much updating or upkeeping on it.
Right, however, if I could just interject.
Yeah.
That stuff was there, you saw it.
Right.
You knew it was there.
Right.
And you made the decision that with all that, the house was worth $200,000 to you.
Absolutely, yes. And so on paper, you might see the house has 2 fireplaces, though neither works. The basement contains crumbling asbestos pipes that are flaking off. And I just took like a sample picture of that so you can see. It also has somebody at one point, and we were given recently an assessment for $10,000 to either encapsulate or remove all the asbestos, because it is a large house, so there's a lot of square footage of
Did you get a
pipes.
bank mortgage?
Yes. Yeah.
And they didn't ask you, they didn't ask anything to be done there?
No,
Whether
no,
it
they
be-
didn't, I don't think,
Usually encapsulation, but they let it pass like that.
yes,
Interesting.
yes.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then,
it's just flaking all over the place. I'm
it
sorry.
is, and so we're gonna have to deal with it, and obviously we need to.
Well, chances are you'll have to deal with it on the next purchase, but maybe the same thing, I'm sorry, the sale, but maybe the same thing happens, I don't know.
And then, in addition, at some point, maybe originally in the 100 years, somebody built a wooden workshop in the basement. So, which is all rotted, and it's a wet basement, so it's rotting the floorboards in the wooden workshop and the wood all around. But to be able to deal with that, we had somebody come in, but the asbestos has to first be dealt with. So we just have a lot of issues.
You do.
I could go on, but our point is that the house value is significantly reduced when you look at the actual condition of the house. Do all houses of a certain age require much upkeep and constant projects? Yes, we've owned houses before, unquestionably, it's 100 years old. But one that has suffered from neglect of care is in a different condition, and there's a lot of catching up to do, just to have it be the regular maintenance that you're gonna be doing. We knew this going in, and that's why the price was less than what it could have been. You know, in 2018, the market was still very hot. Houses were like selling fast, but people had looked at this house. There were a lot of projects. We wanted to take it on, and it was worth it for $200,000, we felt. You know, we have 4 children we're raising. We're slowly fixing things up as we're able. This takes time, but we feel like the assessment has right now gotten ahead of where we actually are. And then I included 3 comparable properties nearby that we noted in our paperwork, sorry. One of which is 560 Allen. So this house we see from our bedroom window. It sits directly across from us. As you can see, it's nearly double the size of our home and has, I think, a 3 city lot property. I'm not sure about that. It's a huge lot. If you look at a bird's eye view on Google, you can see how massive it is. Its assessed value is actually lower, $156,000. Unlike our house, 560 Allen, which is actually, it's a grand house because it was the former house of the mayor of Syracuse. It has a lot of curb appeal. It's beautiful. Additionally, 560 Allen is listed as a 2-family, and we just wonder how such a huge, grand, income-generating property can be assessed lower than we are. Another is 113 Concord Place. Here's a picture. Again, a big, grand, larger house than our own. It's on a big property, yet its assessed value sits at $132,000, much lower than ours.
You have a picture of your house?
I do. It's not the best picture. I didn't know if you guys would have a picture, but I do. Sorry, it's not wonderful, but.
These are awesome houses, though, I gotta say.
Yes, they are, and it's a wonderful neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So that's 113 Concord Place. Again, this is a larger house than ours on a big property. It's $132,000, much lower than ours. This is another income-generating large house. Concord is a very desirable, quiet street. Also, it has that island in the middle, if you're familiar with the neighborhood. It's a really nice street. Our intersection, on the other hand, is very busy. It has cars tearing through the stop signs on that intersection of Allen and Harvard. I didn't print out the police blotter, but if you checked, you'd see in the last couple months, I've been wakened about 3 in the morning by cars speeding through, followed by cop cars, and then crashing into a foot car. That happened twice in the last couple months. We also have a lot of foot traffic. Just saying, so Concord would be more desirable, yet theirs is lower. So the third we listed is 131 Harvard Place.
Yeah, now is this the 4-unit?
That's the 4-unit one. So again, but it's a much bigger house. and it produces a large income, I assume, with multiple bedrooms.
Well, again, though, you gotta kind of compare apples to apples.
Okay, I
The
understand.
other ones are good, but,
Okay.
I mean, we can certainly talk about this, but we really wouldn't consider it.
Okay, I guess I pointed out because it's another one we can see from our house, so it's another, when I was just looking at square footage, I was like, okay, here's this, these are 3 houses
But
close
the
by.
tenants here are good and no
Right.
issues and.
Right. But I guess my point is also that as an owner occupant raising our family in this neighborhood, it is frustrating and it's disheartening when we see that these other houses that are actually bigger than our houses and are producing an income. I can't really charge my kids rent.
No, I agree. I
actually
think
lower-
these three
They charge
are.
you,
enough.
I think these three are too low, to be truthful with you.
Okay, well, anyway, and then finally, we want to point out that we are surprised when we saw that our house was assessed as having 6 bedrooms. We don't, we consider really our house being 4 bedrooms. We wondered why this was, and we found out that in 1996, someone went door to door and talked to somebody, I don't know who, at our house, who erroneously said we had 6 bedrooms. We marveled at how easy it could be changed to just add another bedroom without inspection. But now we'd have to prove that it doesn't have an extra bedroom. We're not sure which room would be a 6 bedroom. We surmised it would be the large attic storage space. The attic, though assessed as a livable space, is not really habitable. We couldn't use any of the bedrooms up there. Technically, it does have a radiator, but we did have an estimate we thought of, because there's another smaller bedroom in the attic. Whether,
We put you on hold for a second. What do you have for square footage?
3,800 square feet.
3,800 square feet.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I couldn't tell you whether it includes the attic. or not.
it does
It's a
include
big
the attic.
house.
The attic
Include the attic.
is
Is there heat up
7,
in the attic?
Oh, wait a minute.
About
No,
750.
It does, I'm sorry, it does include the attic.
Yep.
Houses back in those days
Yeah, the
were
maids'
built with
quarters.
maids' quarters and things like that.
Yep.
That were, and they were part of the house. Today, you would never be able to put something in the attic like that.
Right.
However, there are many, many houses in your neighborhood where they do utilize the attic. The fact that you haven't gotten around to it
Oh, yeah. Well-
I guess I'm absolutely stunned once being a real estate salesperson. I've been an appraiser for over 40 years, that somebody didn't bring attention to the friable asbestos in your home, especially when you have little children and you've yet to address it.
That's,
I mean, that
that's
is
something that
something
you wanna, you're the owner now.
Right,
you
right, and
wanna-
we do
you
want
wanna
to take
get on
care of
that.
it. And I will say about the attic, there is a small room that was definitely, would count as a 5th bedroom in the attic. That one would have been the maid's quarters, I think. It has a closet in it, it has the radiator. We would love to use it as a bedroom, and I think if we were a landlord, we'd.
Play area for your kids.
Well,
period.
but it's freezing cold up there and very hot in the summer. And when we had somebody come in for the furnaces, they said basically you can't really do anything about that because it's a radiator system, by the time the water goes up the attic, it's cold by then.
It's hot
So-
water, heat.
It's hot water, heat, so that, okay, so sorry, I don't want to forget.
Let me just interrupt you one more time again. What's your inventory say as far as the number of bedrooms?
It does say 6 bedrooms. It absolutely does say that, and.
Does this warrant a walkthrough to make sure that your inventory matches up with what the house is?
I'm reluctant to walk into a house that's got friable asbestos in it. I mean, that is something that it's a known cause of cancer. I mean, you've been here for 6 years, and I don't know why that wasn't the first thing you addressed, to be honest with you.
Well, honestly, we did not realize what a problem it was. We don't spend a lot of time in the basement. Our laundry is in there, I run down, but if we had,
Anytime you
if we
do
had a
laundry down there,
disposable,
there's dust in the air.
if we had a big income, maybe we would, but we're trying to, we also had a ton of lead paint that
All
was
houses
in
the-
the,
you're not
exactly, but.
describing anything that's not typical of the neighborhood.
Exactly, but if you're having your kids live in bedrooms, the first thing I'm gonna do is paint over all the lead paint and then address something where they're not going in the basement.
Yeah, you
So
want to do what.
we have to have
well,
priorities, and yes, we do need to take care of it, but I'm saying, anybody who also buys a house is gonna take care of it, and,
Do you have pictures of your pictures? Do you have pictures of the attic?
okay, so with the attic, I am not sure what counts as a bedroom or not. I couldn't find a definition of Syracuse. I mean, okay, so here's the attic room. So it's a large room. Like I said, there's no heat source in it. There's a radiator technically. There's no closet, so I wasn't sure if,
Back then, when houses were built, unfortunately, they had their clothes that they wore to church and the clothes they wore to work, and that was it.
Well,
Closet
right.
space was not, back in that time, was not a
Right.
big thing. Today, it's a different world.
right, but I'm saying for the maid's room, it does have a closet, and to me, I thought the definition might be if a room has a closet, that counts as a bedroom. I'm not sure. It has crawl space. There's formaldehyde resin insulation that's crumbling in the crawl spaces. So those are not closets. That's a crawl space in there.
So formaldehyde was something that the government sanctioned back in the early 70s through the 70s. They said, you know what, insulate your house. People insulated their houses with that. Some people had major allergic reactions to formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is in just about everything you own. Carpet, your curtains, your couches. With it being in your house for as long as it has been, any poisonous gas that may be given off, I'm not a chemist, but this is what I've been told, I'm only repeating what I've been told. It no longer gives off the gas that used to create health issues. So,
Yeah.
I mean, your house is insulated, that's a good thing, and it's better than having nothing in the sidewalls.
I agree, and I did look into it too, because I saw how it was crumbling in the attic crawl spaces. So I was concerned, and what I read was that as long as it's not wet, it's okay, but if it gets wet, then it does kind of reactivate.
That I'm not a chemist, so I won't.
Anyway, that's according to
Just so
Google.
you know, we are past time. There's nobody else, so.
Yeah, we'll finish up.
Yeah.
No-
Okay.
No problem.
But I'm just letting you know.
So
This is attic.
that is the big attic room that I'm assuming they were saying that was a 6-bedroom. I don't know what the definition of a bedroom is.
Well, it could be. You're certainly not utilizing it as such.
Right, and it doesn't have a closet. So I'm referring to that just because we used to live in Manhattan, so to be able to list something as a bedroom there, it had to have a closet, but I couldn't,
You're supposed to have a closet here.
I didn't
as
know
well.
if, okay.
But what do you think as far as usable space there?
Doesn't appear as if it's being utilized at the present time, but that doesn't mean that down the road they're not going to.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part of, looking at anything is it functional, is it usable? According to what she's testified, they don't use it. It doesn't, from the pictures that were presented, it appears as if it's storage.
All right.
What I'll do is,
I guess what I'm
Oh,
getting at is
okay.
based by the pictures, I don't necessarily think that a walkthrough is necessary.
no, the pictures tell a story, so I don't think there's a necessary reason to walk through it. Did you put a mortgage on the property?
Yes, it was.
Did you ever get most people today, and I wouldn't buy a house without doing this myself, is getting
An inspection?
an inspection on the property.
We had,
Did
yeah.
the did the inspection reveal these issues that you're now pointing out?
So I don't want to get our real estate agent in trouble at all.
Well, you're
but-
not gonna, it doesn't.
But
you're
I'll
not
say
gonna do-
that he was also selling the property and we were buying it, and he said there's already been inspection and here it is, and we looked at it, and he said, with regards to the asbestos pipes, he said there's just one area that's crumbling a little and I'll take care of it, and he covered it with duct tape. And we didn't know better, so we were like, okay, great. And, you know, so
Is your
we,
agent still breathing?
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get him in trouble, but, yes.
Did you do that before the appraisal?
Before the appraisal.
Before the bank came and looked at it?
Yeah, no,
Did you
this.
do it
right after you signed the purchase order?
Yeah, there was an inspection done. I'd have to look at it in more detail, specifically about the asbestos. But in terms of comparables, there's asbestos everywhere. I'm sure there's asbestos where we're sitting right now. So.
There is in the building, but
Yeah.
they
So-
mitigate it as they're aware of it. So
Right.
they do try, you know, I mean, and it's, you bought what you bought. You paid
Yeah,
what you
exactly.
paid, you know?
I mean-
You know, but I'm looking at one of your beautiful children, and I would hate to read that they got some horrible disease because
Yeah.
of
Right,
the.
right.
But we could go down a rabbit hole that quickly gets very deep because there's asbestos in the schools. I mean,
There is, but
there's,
it's not friable.
Well,
There's
we-
a difference between
Yeah.
being airborne and in place. When you start, if it's flaking off, that is a
Yeah.
very dangerous thing for everybody in your house.
Yep.
Everybody in your
Right, right. Well, we're trying, just like I said, I go down there to do laundry, we try not to touch it, disturb it, whatever. We want to, obviously, this is something we're saving for and trying to put money aside for. And
Yeah, no,
Just-
let's stay on point, I guess. Very important, of course, but you know that, so we'll leave it at that.
And I know I'm out of time, but I just wanted to close by saying, that, despite all of these issues, we bought our house for a reason. We love our house, we love our neighborhood, we want to stay, we want to raise our kids there,
Sure.
so.
Yeah, no, and you're not being unreasonable in what you're asking for, and I think the city increasing by 6,000 is not being unreasonable either, so we just gotta find out, we gotta fine tune that.
Okay.
But anybody else have any other questions? Good. Ed?
I'm not the assessor for the area. There's no way any assessor or anybody that hadn't walked through the property would know about the issues. I mean, wet basements are typical up there. I mean, any home that's over 100 years old or 100 years old is gonna have some seepage sediment. Those are typical things. Unfortunately, they didn't, putting gutters on your house may alleviate your wet basement issue.
We did do that, we did put gutters on the house when we moved in.
Those are things that, because it's a stone and mortar foundation, water always finds a way in. It will always do that forever. And so those aren't atypical issues that she's describing. As far as the attic goes, it's something that, and again, and people do it all the time, and we're not saying that you're going to, but there've been, cases where people go in and do things, and we won't tell the city about it, they'll never know. Well, we do find out, because people come in, like yourself, and go, how about the house over here, how about the house over here? It's a catch-22 type of situation.
Well, how old are your kids?
13, 12, 10.
So that 13-year-old, as I grew up with 4 siblings, maybe around 15, that person's gonna go upstairs in the teen retreat and all that good stuff, so you'll utilize it.
Pull the window out, smoke out the window, and mom and dad will never know.
Oh, goodness.
Were you over my house?
Wait a minute, you
Are you my long lost brother or something?
Ed, did you ever live in Peoria?
much for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thanks for your
Definitely,
time.
you know, it
Appreciate
wasn't I'm not sure what we're gonna do, but we're certainly gonna talk about it and, try to do the right thing, and you know what you need to do, so.
Yeah.
And the city will send you a notice, first week of April.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Yes. All right, now Peoria, you said. I think he was there.
I passed through there.
Snitching on me at 17 years old.
It was that guy out in the backyard. It was
I swear I saw your space smoking outside your garage.
Too funny. What's going on, boss?
So
We got a couple still?
got one scheduled for 11:20, so technically they're not late. I'll bring over these three that times already got
There's an
passed.
11:10 also.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we got? Foxborough, Cambridge, and Elm?
Foxborough, there's Bassett from,
Yeah, 119 Bassett.
9:20 this morning. That didn't,
Oh, yes, I see
Yes.
that. Okay.
so these are all the ones that times have passed already that haven't shown.
Okay,
And
that
then
was
I've still got
Bassett,
the one
Foxborough.
folder for
11:30?
the 11:20
20.
one, just in case if they show up in the next couple of minutes. But I wasn't sure if you wanted to discuss those.
Well, why don't we, I think, why don't we wait a couple minutes?
Okay.
If that person there doesn't show up, then we'll address these
All of
four,
them. Okay,
and that'll be that.
sounds good.
Okay. Ed, you are a funny man.
Don't make his head very big. I have to sit next to him.
It's not a bedroom, just
I have
maybe
a friend's true story. He's a professional comedian, lived in Boston, his name's Jackie Flynn. He's done a couple of TV shows, one of them's called Louder Milk. The guy's funny as a stitch. His name's Jackie Flynn. When I was living in Boston, we'd been out during the night. He says, and I was this buddy from college. He looked at me. He goes, "You're probably the funniest person I've ever met. Funniest looking, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, you're short, and you don't mind telling people, what you think." And he goes, "Well, I've got this interview, and I got to have some other people come in and audition and tell their jokes and things like that to see." It was kind of a contest type of thing. So I show up at the thing, and I could barely speak my name. I mean, I was all of 22, 23 years old at that point.
Just a couple of years ago.
Just rolled in from, I think I didn't even go home. I think I just showed up. And so I blew it, but he absolutely, he's made a lot of money and lives in LA now. Makes money going around telling jokes. What a life.
And he grew up in Boston?
He grew up in Boston, yes. Up on North Shore.
Nice.
Watched like 2 episodes of Louder Milk, so I'm trying to be like, it's not coming to me.
He's almost as good looking as me.
Oh.
So completely
He should stand up.
When you were born, the doctor slapped your mother. That was a Dangerfield joke.
No respect.
He saw that at 12.
No respect at all.
No respect. Losing.
Actually, that was a lot of what Jackie did was stuff off of him.
Didn't Moody McCarthy go to CBA too? No, Moody McCarthy, he's a pretty...
Is he a comedian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty successful
Well,
comedian.
Bobcat Goldthwait is from here, right?
ESM.
ESM?
Oh.
Yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait.
The first time I ever saw him was Blow, a 2002 Johnny Depp movie.
He was
about
just said he
cocaine.
wasn't going to get CBA. I'm not sure.
Sorry, Everyone's
I think he
favorite
went to
comedian,
CBA. I think he did.
You're right.
has a very famous scene in SNL with him and Chevy Chase.
Oh, really?
Yeah, also co-starred in Blazing Saddles.
Who did?
He went to one of the high schools in my city. He was from Peoria. His name, Richard Pryor. Yeah, Richard Pryor was from Peoria.
He was a writer.
He was in
Mel
Blazing
Brooks?
Shadows?
Yeah. He
Oh, yeah.
was.
Oh, yeah.
No, he was a writer.
Oh,
I,
my
all
God,
I
yes.
remember is, what's his
A
name?
movie'd never get
wasn't
made
in it.
today.
He was a writer.
Oh, sorry. He may not have been in it.
Well,
Yeah, he was a writer.
He was
He
in
was a
Hero
writer,
Casino
right.
Evil with Gene
Okay.
Wilder, who was also in Blazing Saddles.
Correct.
Yeah, because does anyone follow basketball?
Yeah.
You know the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah.
Remember Sean Livingston from the Golden State
Yep.
Warriors? A couple of years ago? Sean Livingston went to my high school.
Did he?
Yeah. Also, so did Curly Boo Johnson,
I know that name.
Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, Curly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Curly Boo Johnson went to Central. Sean Livingston graduated in '04 from Central. Because the year that he graduated and the year after, Central were the back-to-back state champions in basketball. Yeah.
Good stuff. So you grew up in Peoria.
Yeah, I was born in South Bend, and then I characterize it in two ways. One is like where you learn to walk and talk, and then where you did like all of your schooling. I did like my K-12 schooling in Peoria, but I learned to walk and talk in South Bend, Indiana. Yeah.
Why didn't you go to, did you
Are
go
you
to
a Notre Dame fan?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
I thought I liked him, but I don't know.
Friend of my mother, I'm not a Notre Dame fan. When I was a kid, we watched like football, and I don't really watch much football anymore. But when I was a kid, my dad is from Ohio. My dad's a huge Ohio State fan. So football season was always really bad because my mom, big Notre Dame fan.
Oh, wow. That must have meshed well.
And you chose to root against Notre Dame?
They're divorced now, so yeah. I chose to root
There you go.
Is that why?
I chose to root against both of them. All four of my brothers and I, Michigan fans.
Oh, boy.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I did
Can't
not go
agree
to
with
Notre
any.
Dame. My dad got his master's from Notre Dame. I went to a tiny little liberal arts college in the middle of Illinois called Eureka College, which is famous because it's got a pretty famous alumnus. He was a movie star, and then he became governor of California.
Arnold.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah.
And they never shut up about him.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so no, I did not go to Notre Dame.
Did Arnold go to college?
Yeah, he went to like the University of Vienna or something like that.
Oh, okay.
He's from Austria. He's not.
Yeah, I know he's from Austria.
I thought he went to Steroid U.
Could have gone to both. You don't know.
All right, let's get into these four properties. We're gonna do them in the order that they're on the sheet. Bassett, Foxborough, Cambridge, Elm. And I save Elm for last just in case that person shows up. Okay? And so, I'm gonna read them in, read some information, see what the city has to say, and then we'll take it from there.
I think the lady that was here for Allen, maybe it was from Cambridge, one of those people called me and said, "Oh, I'm gonna have got two," and I thought it was an Allen and Elm, but maybe it was Cambridge.
Cambridge and Elm are owned by the same person, LaPointe.
I think who you're talking about was that husband and wife, because they said they were gonna be back in a couple days to do Westminster.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was the, I will tell you who it was. That was King Damiani. They own Maryland. They bought Maryland, but they did say they were gonna be back in a couple days, so possibly who you're referring to. But be that as it's may. 119-21 Bassett Street. This is residential rental, so I think it's a one-family rental.
It's a two-family.
It's a two-family. Okay. Verified that. So I have a current tentative assessment of 88,000. Excuse me just for 1 second. And I just want to correctly code these. Okay, yeah, 88,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is 44,000, which is an assessed value of 28,380. And I will, it's just the application in here, but looks like they bought it from their in-laws, paid cash. I'm not sure about the amount because it's really scribbled in. I really can't tell. So I don't know what they paid. Maybe one of you guys do. And that is about it. It appears maybe it's an elderly gentleman.
It is. It's somebody who's, they have life using it, although they're not using it. They live out in the way. Or at least that's what their mail is going.
Because they said, so it's, okay, so it's non-owner occupied, 2-family, and there you have it. Can you tell us anything else about it?
Well, the assessment was double. It was double, that's why, you know, that's a huge increase. You know, I mean, but there's sales that, you know, if it's a smaller, less than 2,000 square feet, a sale is included here that's slightly smaller, it's slightly over 1,500, so over 110. The rest of them are well north of 110 as far as his comps go.
All right. I've got a note to see comps, and probably everybody else does too. So we will do that. And so this was a no show, no call.
No show, no call. All the remaining ones are.
Okay.
If he's still life user, he's got to live there.
No.
No, he can still own it, he just doesn't get any of the exemptions that he would get if he was, so he can have a, why you have a, I mean, I think they probably moved him out, maybe, it looks like they're living in an apartment now, so maybe family moved him out, but they didn't take the life use off, but he has no exemptions on the property, so it's strictly a rental property at this point in time. You can own it in that form, but still own it that way.
Yeah.
And again, on the no-shows, we ask that they be dismissed.
Okay, so you're asking for
Any of the no-shows, have them dismissed.
Well, it's got stuff. This, okay.
Well, you give,
No, go ahead.
Well, let me go back to Bassett. Are you requesting that it be dismissed, just from a note standpoint?
I mean, you can look at the comps, I mean, he's not here, I mean, you know, I mean, typically, yes, we do, if they don't show up, then we just dismiss it and they'll have to come back next year.
All right, so I'm not saying we're gonna do that, but I've noted
At least,
it.
you know, that's typically our department's stance, so they don't, you know, if they came in and made an appointment, said they were gonna be here, and they don't show up, we typically are gonna ask for a dismissal.
Okay, fair enough. 129 Foxborough Road.
Okay, this is one that you.
Let me just read a little information, and it's a residence, 2-story, single-family, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, deck, detached garage on a 60 by 150-foot lot. Current tentative assessment of 75,000. Petitioner believes the fair market value is 66,200, which should be an assessed value of 42,699. This petitioner did not show up, but let me just see, there is a fair amount of information in here. Purchased the property on June 24th of 2020 for $48,112. It was a cash deal. And let me just flip here. We've got a copy of the deed. And we've got a settlement statement, so we'll review that stuff and some other various pieces of information. A lot of information here, so we can consider dismissal, but we'll definitely take a look at.
This is a rental property. It was purchased out of foreclosure. You guys reduced it last year, and it's been an unfinished for at least 2 years. I raised the assessment, and when I addressed the area last year, it's no longer my area, and Joe raised it back up again this year because we believe that it's actually a single-family home, but we believe that there are Lemoyne students living in it.
Okay.
And looks like it's in way better condition from when this new owner took it over as well. So they made some improvements. So that unfinished should become finished. Yep.
Okay, so they took the unfinished off.
They took the unfinished off and raised the assessment 20 grand.
Right. All right, got that. And next one then is 163
Oh, here.
Cambridge.
Both of these ones did have the same contact phone number, so they may have been the same person. Like, it has two different names on here, but same contact number.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Let's see. Bear with me for 1 minute. Okay, then, this is 163 Cambridge. Okay, so we've got 163 Cambridge. I think it's a residence. Current tentative of $100,000 assessed value. So petitioner believes the fair market value is $60,000. I've got $135,000 on the petition, though.
Well, this was increased 16,000. Its new assessment is 100,000. It was increased 16,000. It's a single family home, and comp support.
Okay. Says it was purchased in August of '96 for $57,000.
Purchase when, 96?
Yeah, August of '96, $57,000.
Did they provide anything?
No, just the petition.
Just so you know, the reason we moved to dismiss these properties, if they're owner occupied, they could take them to certiorari. They have to go in front of you guys before they can take it to certiorari. If we dismiss it, there's no possible way they can take it to a certiorari court.
Right.
So that's why, I mean, we're telling them essentially, you didn't come this year, come back next year with whatever you got as proof, and we'll look at it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, certainly. Now, like the person that called with a death in the family,
That's a
Okay.
different,
That's a different
scenario.
story, but yeah, if somebody just no call, no show, no nothing, you know.
We give them, when we sign those people up, we give them a piece of paper that gives the time and the date that they're supposed to be. There have been, and there always will be, people will call and have an excuse for not being here on that day. That's fine, as long as they call ahead and say, hey, and maybe we've received a few calls downstairs, but, you know, at this point in time, nobody's informed us of that. And you may see some of these in front of you.
Right, so I'll further, just from looking at it, 163 Cambridge, the owner is Christine LaPointe, and it appears that she lives at Cambridge. And as per Michelle, 352 Elm Street appears to be a single-family residence that she owns as a rental, I believe.
352 Elm, that's a three-family.
Okay, so three-family. And I think this is a,
I actually spoke to this woman, and that she owns the same, they're part of the Cambridge.
We already did this, he was here.
Okay.
right,
She called saying to me, well, how do I show them my income and expense statements? I said, well, and she doesn't, I'll be honest, she didn't sound like a real educated investor. I said, well, if you file tax returns each year, you're gonna have a section in your tax return that's gonna show that type of information. And I said, there are software you can purchase that will also help you, you know, keep track of who's on time with their rents and things like that. And I think she became frustrated when I told her that it was necessary to see her income and expense or an income producing property.
okay, yeah, and I figured out what happened as far as the numbers are concerned. So this is a three-family, current tentative assessment, 79,000. Let me just ask real quick. Yeah, you can put those there. What was the land value on 163 Cambridge?
Ooh, I've handed it over to you. It's in the file.
Gotcha.
Wanna give it to me? I can.
11,600 11,600 land value.
In Foxborough too, I don't think we, said.
12,200. I don't think I read it off. Let's see what Chuck's got. This is Elm and Elm. Okay. All right. And what's the land value on Elm?
7,600.
7,600. Okay. This is a three-family. Current tentative assessment 79,000. Petitioner believes the market value is 135,000. Okay. Which would be an assessed value
Of $87,000.
Lower it is. Requesting an increase in
Yeah,
assessment.
I'll go back out next year.
5.
Oops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Go ahead.
Okay, so.
Sure, you don't want this one dismissed.
So that, yeah, right. Okay, so, let me just make a note here.
Took my something gift wrap.
No change. I want to go back to Cambridge for 1 second.
This is the three-family?
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, she had the numbers mixed up there.
And they live there, this one?
No.
No, they live in.
They live on Cambridge.
Oh, okay. So, Cambridge.
Street's not. Elm Street's mostly tenant occupied.
Okay.
Just like the rents.
Don't need a rent. It's already acknowledged.
Yeah. And
Okay. I think I got everything in order now. Okay. All right, that takes care of 352 Elm. Okay. It appears that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13. I believe we got them all for today. Okay. Let me do this right. Trevor, so now I'd say, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes, now you will entertain a motion to adjourn. Someone will make a motion, someone will second the motion, and you vote to adjourn, assuming no one has any objections, or assuming enough people vote to adjourn, meeting is adjourned. That's the procedure for how that goes.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
Any seconds? Second.
Carl Masterpole, second. So then we vote.
Yep, all in favor of adjourning?
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining? Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.